Hi everyone, this is Ben Colby, Teen Librarian from Enoch Pratt with an intermediate level video on Tinkercad. We're going to talk about a spinning disk today and the basics of how moving parts work. So let me start with an idea where I take a cylinder, I rotate it 90 degrees, and I stretch it way out. Now if I were to just print this, if this is my design that I send to the printer, we might have a problem because it's not exactly touching the surface. So there are different ways to deal with that. One would be to add supports in the slicer program underneath it. Another way to deal with it would be to have that shape sticking out from something. Okay, because we can always, if the shape is anchored to something, it can pretty much handle sticking out a little bit. The very bottom layers might still be funky, but the plastic will be solid enough by the second or third layer for everything to be okay. So I'm going to use this concept to make a turning mechanism. So I'm going to leave the box there for now. We're going to use it later. Let's see, how skinny or thick do we want this to be? 20. I'm going to shrink this until it's only 10. Anyway, about 10 wide. And great. So let's think of an outer shape. Different ways to do it. Let's just use the tube as an outer shape. I want it to be a little thicker, so I'm going to change the wall thickness right here. Okay, and then let's just make this large. And actually, I don't need to hold the shift key in this case. We're just making a frame that roughly fits that. That's fine. And I'll just put it off to the side for now. Okay, so we're going to put something in the middle that is turning on this radius. And I think, yeah, because that's already exactly 10 tall. So they're both 10. That's good. So what do we put in the middle turning on this stick? Well, we could use the box shape. It would be fine. But let's try something else. We could use another tube shape, but let's use a diamond shape cutout. So I'm going to take a box, shrink it to 10. We can make it a little off center. That's fine. So then I'll make a duplicate. I'll make the duplicate taller, but I'll also shrink it down a little bit this way, make it a hole, try to recenter it. Try to get it perfect. Okay, I'm going to stretch the red part out just a little bit more. Okay, so I think it's still not perfect, is it? Okay, well, it doesn't matter. This is all I wanted. I just wanted a shape like this. So I think is this too weird? If I rotate something by just a little more and then stretch it. So I've got a weird shape happening. That's fine. So then this would be the thing that spins in the middle. And we could even leave the pin going straight through. I don't even mind. That's okay. So this shape, this cylinder shape, is going to be the shape of the hole that gets cut out. And I can adjust that and make it perfect. But I'm also going to make a copy over here, and we'll use this as the solid shape. Now, if a positive shape, if a solid shape is supposed to fit into a hole, should they be exactly the same size? No. The positive shape needs to be slightly smaller. So I'm going to actually move my snap grid down just so I can be a little more precise here. It's at 9.9. I'm going to take this to 9.5 or less, maybe 9.0. And I'm using the Shift key, taking it down to 9.0. And that means we get 0.5 millimeter of space around it if we have it centered perfectly. How do we make sure that it gets centered perfectly? Because you can see that, yeah, well, we just changed it by approximately 1 millimeter. And so that would mean that we would need to lift it off the ground by about 0.5 millimeter in order to get it centered. That's great. That's great. So first, I'm going to take the cutout shape. Let's save this after we cut out the hole. We do want this to be kind of lined up as well as possible. And you can kind of see that edge there, so you can see how far it goes into the shape. And it can go significantly into the shape. You can put this hole significantly in there. That's fine. So I'm just going to group these two shapes, and you can see I cut out the holes going from the top to the bottom. And let's put this shape together first. Of course, you could do anything in the middle attached to this rod. And I'm going to this is the toughest part of this design because we have to make sure that it is in there enough so that it won't slide back and forth. So let's see. I think we do need to stretch it this way a little bit. Let's just try to get that triangle part right on the edges. Okay, good. So how am I doing here? Still not perfect. Using my arrow keys to make fine adjustments. I can see right there there's a gap. What about the other side? There's no gap on the other side. Uh-oh. So obviously this process can be a little tedious. You just want to make sure there is a separation between the pin and the hole. And I guess we're doing fine here. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not going to group these together just yet. Or actually, I guess there's no reason not to. Oops, I just ungrouped. Oh, no. If you end up, because look what happened. I ungrouped and then grouped, and it cut the hole out in the middle again. That's not what I wanted. Undo. I want to group these two shapes together. Great. So I'm going to do one more thing to just check and see if I've got this lined up okay. I'm going to take a box, make it into a hole, stretch it out really big, and lift it to my halfway point, which should be about 5. 5.5 is okay. And I'm just going to take an extra cutout from the top so I can see how these shapes are lining up with each other. And I think that is very good. If I wanted, I could go back and extend the pin into the hole a little bit more, but it's no big deal. That's going to work out real nice. And that shape, by the way, the cylinder might get a little weird on the bottom here. Actually, yeah, let's do one more thing. So I'm just going to, I'm going to get rid of this hole. Yeah, and this is just to make sure that the cylinder prints okay on the bottom. I'm just going to add just to the inside part a skinny little box for the bottom that no one is ever going to notice, but it will make the bottom flat and stable. Okay. Ooh, and I went over a little too far. Just want to center that on the rounded part so we have a flat bottom. This is awesome. So that is a shape that will spin right off the printer. And you could put anything in there. Let me show you this shape library. They just added this. You could add a lot of weird stuff to the middle here. How about this spider? Huh, or it's a ladybug or something. That's strange. So anyway, you've got some stuff to work with if you want to play around. Okay, and then of course let's say I didn't want that part of it. I would just select this, export the selected shape as the STL, and submit that to me. So this is one very simple way to add spinning motion to your 3D prints.